Hi, I'm Jim Bergeron, pastor at Holy Cross Lutheran Church in Houston, Texas, and this is the first Sunday after Christmas, Luke 2:22 to 40. Tomorrow, a new year. Who knows what it will bring? Hasn't 2023 been an amazing experience? Worship and praise, witness and service are continually evolving. The food pantry has fed thousands, 1,100 families in Thanksgiving week alone. We've started a choir and a nursery on Sunday mornings, plus live streaming most services online. We sponsor Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, celebrated 8 Eagle Scouts in this year, whose projects help to beautify our campus. We have a 50-year-old early learning center for school for kids. We sponsor Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. This, in addition to beautiful landscaping and critical necessity, repairs, refurbishing of church facilities. To be certain, it's empowered us for 2024. We'll always perceive the events of our lives as positive or negative, enhancements or diminishments, serving goals or frustrating them. Led by Jesus, we can learn how to make holy those parts of our life experience that are less than the ideal that we had dreamt of so fondly, the wish dream for which we yearned. We can lift up and hallow our diminishments. I like New Year's resolutions. Made in the Christmas season, sometimes I can keep them well into the Epiphany season. Usually by Lent, it's time to revise and renew them with a penitential twist. For example, last year I started with exercise. Somehow by Lent, that had turned into extra fries. It rhymed, sounded tastier. This year, I'm going with the 7 Ups. Wake up. Start with a prayer. Thank the Lord for his day and rejoice in it. Suit up. Put on a smile. Even scary people look better when they smile. Whistle a tune. Shut up. One tongue, 2 ears, use proportionally. Listen while you pray. Stand up. Resist evil. Don't argue. Point to the truth. Look up. Watch for the Lord in everything. Reach up. Ask for the Lord for help. Pray, give thanks, confess shortcomings, and adore. Lift up. Build up, pray for, and serve those who aren't doing well. Anyone can tear down. Lift up. Constructive criticism is always self-criticism. All these 7 Ups are reminders that self-control is a beautiful gift to develop as part of your image of God. One day I was walking past a green in Memorial Park, and a man was lining up a shot with his wedge. It was supposed to go up high with a backspin, land near the cup, and stop, or better yet, drop in. Instead, the ball overshot, rolled into the water hazard behind the green, and apparently it was an important shot. He turned red, bent his wedge into a pretzel, and threw it into the pond, yelling, "Thomas Jefferson!" Later that day, I was watching a plumber fix a pipe, and his wrench slipped and mashed his fingers. With tears in his eyes, he hollered, "Mahatma Gandhi!" Since the epithets were heading in an easterly direction, I expected to next witness somebody stubbing their toe and yelling, "Paramahansa Yogananda!" Just kidding. Don't you think it's strange that people even use Jesus' name to curse in emotional outbursts? You can't get away from this man, Jesus. He's in every aspect of life. The baby changed the world, even at a few days old. People noticed. Professor Joy Moore of Fuller Theological Seminary delightfully brings to our attention that St. Luke's gospel uses male and female couples as witnesses to the salvation of God. They are Mary and Joseph, Elizabeth and Zechariah, and Anna and Simeon in the temple. They all have joyous songs. They all balance each other. There are outbursts of spontaneous praise, cries of celebration at impossible hopes fulfilled. Simeon's song comes in two parts. First, he sings to God with joy. Now I'm happy. I'm okay to die, God. You said I'd live to see your salvation for the whole world. And there he is, Jesus Messiah. Simeon's song's second verse is to Mary. God's human now. Your son will change the world. Your lives won't be easy. God with us. For him, that's voluntary diminishment. God's made himself dependent upon humanity, that which is created in his own image. So God grows through willing sacrifice. So do we. It's called self-control, part of God's image that we can share. And isn't it nice to know that God has self-control? He submits himself to the processes of the world, the joys and the sorrows of the three laws of thermodynamics, Newton's laws of motion. No hall pass here, no executive privilege. It's sacrificial diminishment from divine perfection and godliness. Born under the law, born of the flesh, Luke underscores the faithful liturgical Jewishness of Jesus and his family. In Jewish law, the firstborn child is to be consecrated to God. However, he can be redeemed with an offering, redeemed from lifelong service to God, bought back into the arms of his family and community, and then trained and nurtured into other important stations in life: carpenter, fisherman, farmer, mason, craftsman, merchant, etc. Jesus is dedicated at the temple, but no ransom is paid. Ironically, he's technically unredeemed, so that now he can be fully involved in God's service, no matter what else he does in life. Essential to the Jewish and Christian way of living is the praise of God in every situation in life. God's to be honored in rising up and lying down, in leaving and returning. God is to be honored in the acts of eating and making love, sleeping, dressing for the day. The sad, secular modern life has reduced the holy significance of the normal, daily, usual stuff that we do. Daily living is diminished, not held up as dedicated to God. Many see nothing holy about life and don't recognize God. How can they even live without feeling the glow? Many have a sprinkling relationship with God in the church. They get sprinkled with water at baptism, and sprinkled with rice at their wedding, and sprinkled with dirt at burial. Others celebrate continually and make holy even the times of disaster and diminishment. The laws of Moses are still the most accurate map of sensible, practical, ethical communal living because they're the laws of reality, of ordinariness, ordinary behaviors that we need to simply preserve life and love. Nowadays, many parts of the human race want to live without any rule of law. It baffles me why anyone would call down chaos on their own position on a battlefield. That's suicide. But there are plenty of places in the world where you can go and get a free hall pass, just like they say. Lie, steal, cheat, kill, free love, and nickel beer. And that's just D.C. God will be there too. He'll be the one weeping. Jesus looks so ordinary, just like any other baby, but the Spirit gives recognition. The Spirit enables us to see like Simeon. It's faith that makes it possible to see the holy, the hallowed, the divine in the diminished ordinary. Hallow your diminishments. God's diminished himself into time and flesh and the grinding tedium of growing up in both suffering and joy, just like us. He's still God, and no less holy or divine. What happens when something divine happens to us and enters us? It's okay. We still go stage by stage through the realities of law and truth. What do you do after enlightenment? Yeah, you do the chores, clean the toilets, dust the furniture, change the diaper, do the dishes, check the oil, make somebody smile with a loving act. God didn't take any exemptions. I can't improve on that. Hallow your diminishments. Come to terms with your aggravating weaknesses. Celebrate your stultifying dependence. Swallow the devastating pride that makes it hard to gracefully surrender. I've found that crow makes a really good meal. It can nourish growth. It restores shattered relationships. Appreciate your inability to control much at all and recognize that God has it all in his hands anyway. After all, weakness, surrender, dependence, lack of control, those are the very things that graciously put us into relationships with other people and so with God. And part of God's submission under, surrender to, and sacrifice of the law will be his death on the cross. Simeon predicted it. Diminishment with a capital D, diminishment with extreme prejudice. The future death of this baby that Simeon held, the one he could see and foretold to Mary, it's the final reality of the law of this world. God, through Jesus, fulfills the law for all time. It is not victimization. It is an elevation from surrender to resurrection. We share this not by our strength, but in our diminishment and in God's grace. So, when the time of their purification according to the law of Moses had been completed, Joseph and Mary took Jesus to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. Christ, in turn, has presented you and me to the Lord. Go forward as one who is perfected, accepted, and loved by God. Hallow your diminishments. Amen.